Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video, we will be taking a look at the creepy side of the Legend of Zelda series. While Zelda is usually aimed at being family friendly, they are also by far the most adult Nintendo games out there, with some seriously creepy and even on occasion, scary moments. These come from both the environment as well as characters within the games themselves. In today's video, we focus on the creepiest enemies found within the many Zelda entries, although be aware that bosses and NPCs will not be covered within this video. So with that said, let's step into the darker side of Hyrule and the handful of other worlds that protagonist Link has journeyed through across the years as we run down the creepiest Zelda enemies of all time. Breath of the Wild may have a more cartoony art style than most of its counterparts, but that doesn't prevent it from containing a handful of super creepy foes. The first of these on today's list is the STALHOUND. This lizard-like skeleton reanimates each night and, armed with a sword, begins to stalk its prey. Its lifeless eyes glow brightly in the moonlight as it shuffles about. Link can cut these enemies down pretty quickly, however after being decapitated, the STALHOUND head continues to chatter on the ground and must be swiftly defeated or else its entire body will reassemble once more. Travelling in small groups, these skeletal reptiles are unnerving to encounter. Sticking with the skeleton-based enemies, we come to Bubble and its Twilight Princess rendition. Bubble has a demonic skull attached to a pair of torn-up bat wings and flies directly at Link in an attempt to latch on with its razor-sharp teeth. Its appearance is nightmarish and movement fast. What makes the Bubble especially creepy is their ability to reanimate once more, if not dealt a death blow when their wings have been removed. They even come in fire and ice versions, which make their appearance even more hostile and fear-inducing. Just imagine this demonic sight swooping down at you from the sky above. It's time to ratchet up the creep factor now as we move on to an enemy from perhaps the scariest of all Zelda entries, Majora's Mask. Unlike most Zelda games, Majora's Mask didn't simply contain a few creepy moments. The entire goal of the developers was to create a world full of horror. This world is known as Termina, a radical departure from the land of Hyrule and host to many horrific sights. One of the creepiest creatures found within the game is the water-based Deep Python. As the name suggests, this is a snake-like enemy living deep below the water's surface. It lurks like an eel within the holes in the wall, poised and ready to strike at a moment's notice. Despite its freaky appearance, what really makes Deep Python scary is its sudden speed if Link ventures too close to its nest. At this point, the python darts out and chases us down with lightning reflex. Returning to Twilight Princess and another skeletal-based design, we move on to STALHOUND. This is a demonic dog in a decaying body, still half covered in flesh and fur, with a giant toothy grin which jets far out from its face. The STALHOUND hunts by night on Hyrule Field, as well as being found within the Cave of Ordeals, one of the game's many dungeons. We don't need to go into too much detail as to why STALHOUND has made this list. Just look at him for yourself and imagine coming face to face with such a gruesome sight in real life. Not only are STALHOUNDs fast and aggressive in their attacks, they can also appear in large packs, allowing them to overwhelm a poor Link very easily if the player lets their guard down. There's nothing quite as unnerving and uncanny as the sight of a human-animal hybrid. Centaurs, for example, have always been a horrifying visual, at least in my personal opinion. Several Zelda games, most recently Breath of the Wild, have included an enemy very similar to the centaur found in Greek mythology, and it is known here as the Lynel. Lynels are not only creepy to look at, but also intimidating due to their raw power and strength. These are high-level enemies in the games, and great care must be taken when preparing to fight one. A few wrong moves and even the highest leveled player can fall to one of these mythical beasts. Their mixture of man and beast appearance and this deadly nature makes them a creepy addition to each and every game they show up in. Sink in this image for a moment. This is a REDEAD, a zombie enemy found within many of the Zelda games, and perhaps most terrifying in their Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Wind Waker designs. What makes this enemy so creepy is its behaviour toward Link. When encountered, the REDEAD emits a high-pitched scream, which then immobilises the player. In their frozen state, this zombified creature will then take the opportunity to leap onto Link's back, wrapping itself around him as it feasts on his flesh, dealing massive amounts of damage in a very short time. In Twilight Princess, the REDEAD showed up as knights wielding gigantic swords and lumbered after Link, paralysing him before using this sword to smash him into the ground. Their appearance is just as creepy here, perhaps even more so as they are now much bigger in size. There's something pretty terrifying about severed body parts with a life of their own. Zelda has an enemy built around this concept known as WALLMASTER. This hellish creature is a gigantic clawed hand which surprises Link by dropping down from above. They can be heard scuttling along walls and ceilings of a room, which makes entering a location which houses one of these phantom hands incredibly unsettling. Worst of all is the method we must use to defeat the WALLMASTER, waiting as its shadow looms over Link until the last second before moving out of harm's way as the WALLMASTER drops to the floor. Link must then quickly attack before this ghastly creature has the chance to pounce back out of sight once more. Spiders are scary. Human skulls are creepy. Fuse them together and this is the result. Ocarina of Time's rendition of a frequent Zelda enemy type known as SKULLTULA. The SKULLTULA is a giant spider with a human face, and there is even a non-lethal family of these creepy creatures to be found during the game. Here we are met with a truly shocking sight as a young boy's face has been fused into the regular SKULLTULA design. Again, not an enemy, but it really needed to be mentioned because, well, just look at it. That's not to say the regular enemy SKULLTULA are not creepy, they most certainly are, dropping down to surprise Link with very little warning. Arachnophobes beware. Pose are found within many of the various Zelda games and are amongst the creepiest of Link's enemies. They appear as ghosts carrying lanterns and often swords or axes too, which they use to attack Link from the shadows, disappearing and reappearing at a moment's notice. These paranormal enemies can even possess Link in certain games such as Wind Waker, reversing player movement for a short while. Big Pose, specifically the variety found within Twilight Princess, are scarier still, and as the name suggests, are towering versions of the more common variety. Their realistic look in this particular game seems more fitting for the Dark Souls series than the Legend of Zelda. At the top of this list comes the infamous enemy Dead Hand from Ocarina of Time. Now, perhaps this qualifies more as a mini-boss rather than a regular enemy type, but it feels fitting for today's rundown either way. Deadhand's appearance is truly the stuff of nightmares, with his slug-like body, gaping jaw, contorted facial expression, and long spider-like limbs. As Link battles this ghoulish creature deep beneath the ground, other skeletal arms reach up from the soil in an attempt to drag him down so their master can devour the flesh off his bones, leaving Link to join them in Deadhand's crypt. And let's talk about this crypt. Located deep within an abandoned well full of strange torture-like devices, Deadhand's room is covered in human remains and features a truly oppressive vibe. This is one haunting encounter any Zelda fan is sure to never forget. And that's it for today's video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy watching, and maybe drop a comment too, as well as subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an upload. This channel specializes in variety horror content, including creepypasta readings, horror gaming facts and theories, and general interest pop culture horror videos. So if you're interested in all things spooky, you'll find something to enjoy here at SuperHorrorBro. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.